Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Hayoti. I'm the Assistant Director of Alumni Relations at Teachers College, and I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today for the Alumni Career Development Webinar Series featuring Pervis Taylor III. The webinar series covers a range of career topics and includes speakers from a variety of backgrounds. The series is co-sponsored by the TC Office of Career Education and Professional Development and the Office of Alumni Relations. Videos of past webinars are available on our website at www.tc.edu/alumni/career-webinars. Pervis Taylor III is an award-winning celebrity life identity coach, inspirational speaker, contributor, and author. He has written two international selling inspirational books, Pervis Principles Volumes 1 and 2, and is co-author of the relationship book, Single Man, Married Man, which won the Award Judge Organization New Book Award for Best Relationship Book. He also encourages the masses daily with his Be Great morning inspirational messages via social media. And it was hashtag Be Great. Pervis is an expert life coach. He has contributed to a strong list of publications that include Black Enterprise, Vibe, and BeliefNet, to name a few. He has worked with various organizations such as New York City Department of Education, Red Hook Initiative, YWCA, DC Trust, and Young Men's Initiative, and more. Black Enterprise magazine named Pervis a BE Modern Man for his contribution to excellence in his field of life coaching. In addition to Black Enterprise, Pervis and his work has been featured on Fox, The Today Show, Daily Mail UK, Essence Magazine, The Root, and The Network Journal. Pervis earned his graduate degree from Teachers College, Columbia University in psychology with an emphasis on spirituality, mindfulness, and body. He resides in Brooklyn, New York, and today he will present the webinar, The Mindful Me. If there are any pressing questions, feel free to ask them during the session. However, you're also welcome to ask them after. And I now introduce Pervis Taylor.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to my webinar, Mindful Me. As Sarah so eloquently stated, I am Pervis Taylor III, and I'm really excited to be here to share this webinar with my TC community. Had such a wonderful time going to TC, so it's an honor to be able to give back. As she stated, I have had the privilege of the last almost 8 years of successfully transforming the lives of individuals like celebrities, like executives, organizations, everyday people, and youth, and really taking people from good to great. And it's my hope to be able to share some of those insights with you via this webinar. The reason why I wanted to do a webinar called The Mindful Me for you guys this evening is because throughout the 8 years of me being a coach, people primarily come to me for one thing, and that's usually their career. And I said to myself, I said, why do so many people come to me for their career? And then it hit me. Our strongest identity attachment is to what we do for a living. Think about it. When you meet somebody new, especially here in New York City, when you meet somebody for the first time, within the first, I would say, 3 to 4 questions, you're asking, what is it that you do for a living? And again, that's because we have such a strong attachment to what we do career-wise. And we're so much more than our careers. And so when my clients, whether they're celebrities or whomever, they've come to me in the past about their careers, once I get them into a space of taking care of themselves and really nurturing who they are, their career expectations are exceeded. And what is true for them is true for you and I. And so that's what I really want to share with you guys this evening, some tools that hopefully you can take with you and apply so that you can have a dynamic 2018 and beyond, both professionally and interpersonally and personally. So, with that being said, I always share this quote whenever I have the opportunity to speak in front of an audience or do webinars or facilitate workshops. And the quote is, there's a slide in world history for each and every one of us, either as a world changer or someone who watched the world change. Choose. There's a slide in world history for each and every one of us, either as a world changer or someone who watched the world change. Choose. Every one of us, we have everything that we need to live our most dynamic life. I believe that the biggest problem we have is that we look at others, or we look at social media, and we look at what we think is supposed to be our best lives. But the reality is that we have everything that we need for our journeys. And once we harness and sit in that truth and rest in that truth, our lives are endless. We can have endless opportunities and possibilities, and I know that to be true. So, since this is a mindfulness webinar, I would like to begin with a mindfulness exercise. Although I can't see you, I would love to see you, but obviously it's set up this way. But so what we're going to do is I want you to close your eyes, and we're going to inhale through our nose. We're going to exhale through our mouth. I'm going to take you through a brief breathing exercise and a little bit of a brief mindful meditation real quick. So, on the count of three, I want you to inhale through your nostrils and exhale. One more time. One more time. One more time. Last one. I want you to hold it. I want you to hold it. Now exhale. With your eyes still closed, I want you to think of the last time you were happy. When you have it, you can raise your hand and I can feel you virtually. When you have it, raise your hand wherever you are. And now I want you to think of the last time you made someone happy. And I want you to raise your hand. And now I'm going to ask you a very bold question. When was the last time you felt fulfilled in your life? And when you have that, open your eyes. Awesome. I hope that you guys, that was good for you guys. That is a great mindfulness exercise that you can do beginning of each morning or on break at work. And it should bring you back to a place of feeling good. So let's get into this. So Professor John Zen uses a statement. He says, mindfulness means being awake. It means knowing exactly what you're doing. And for this webinar, I think it's important that we understand language because I believe that he who controls the language controls the conversation. So for Pervis's webinar on mindfulness, I created my own definition. And so this is the definition in which we're going to be working from. So it is, mindfulness is consciously, purposely taking care of one's needs emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and relationally. Okay? And with that being said, we have tenets to mindfulness, right? That we're going to be working with throughout this webinar. And you're going to hear me refer to these often. And that is, to be mindful is to be intentional. To be mindful is to be responsible. And to be mindful is to be. Okay? So recently, I was hired by an organization, major organization here in New York, who wanted me to come in and train their staff on a new initiative that they were doing as a corporation. And the director and the VP, they called me. They said, "Pervis, listen, we really don't know what we're doing, but we do know that we need to have everyone on one accord to be able to approach this new endeavor." They were doing, I believe it's called CSR, corporate social responsibility for this corporation. And so they said, "Do you think you can do it?" And I was like, "Sure." And so what I did with them, this exercise that I did with them, I'm going to do with you guys. So just trust me and follow me, even though it may not make sense to you, it will make sense. So what I did was I gathered all the employees into a boardroom, and I went up to the whiteboard and I drew this. And I said to them, I said, if I'm drawing these golden arches, what does this represent? And everyone said McDonald's. And I was like, yes, you're right. It's McDonald's. And so and the director and the VP are looking at me like, okay, Purvis, what are you doing? So I motioned them with the just trust me, I know what I'm doing thing, and they just kind of sat back in their seats. And so I said, great, this is McDonald's. I said, so you know, when McDonald's comes to mind, what does it make you feel? And I want you to think about that. When McDonald's comes to mind, what does it make you feel? And so I comprised like the top answers that people gave me, since I can't see everyone. Um, so people said McDonald's makes them feel nostalgic. It makes them feel welcomed. It makes them feel community, family, fun, and happy. And I was like, okay, great, great. I said, so what does McDonald's make you think? Like when you think about McDonald's, what do you think about? I want you guys to take a moment and uh, what do you think of when you think of McDonald's? Right? And so here are the answers that they gave me. They said, one lady said quick, others said convenient, others said happy meals, others said childhood memories, inexpensive, playgrounds, fries. One person said GMO. I was like, okay, well, we want to keep this positive. Um, so then I asked them. I said, lastly, I said, so what does McDonald's say to you? And and I want you to think about it. What does McDonald's, the corporation, the brand, the restaurant, what does it say to you? And here's what they said. They said McDonald's says to me that you're welcome here. We're always here. Someone said I'm loving it. Someone else said we have a legacy and we're part of the community. I was like, great. I said, give yourself a round of applause. This is awesome, awesome, awesome. I said, I'm going to ask you just one. I'm going to I'm going to draw this one last thing and tell me what you think this is. And so, I did my best my best try to create this, to draw this. And I said, what is this? I said, it's a can and it has white writing on it. And everybody's like, Coke. And I was like, yeah, you're right. It is Coke. And so again, the VP is really like, he's looking at me like, dude, we're paying you a lot of money. What are you doing? So I just said, trust me. Again, just trust me. So as we did with McDonald's, I said, what does Coke make you feel? People put festive, celebratory, comforted, bubbly, and nostalgic. And I said, great, 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 great. All right. So just like McDonald's, what does Coke make you think? What do you think about when you think of Coke? People said Super Bowl, commercials, family gatherings. People said jobs. One person said Atlanta because they were from Atlanta, and other people said the best soda. All right, I said great, 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 and I said okay. So lastly, what does Coke say to you? And this is what they said: we are successful. We have longevity. We are everywhere. We are the best soda, and we are a part of the biggest moments of your life. And so I said, give yourself a round of applause because this was incredible. I said, you guys were just awesome and incredible. And so the VP's looking at me and the director is just like, okay, okay, what was the point of that? And I'm sure right now you're saying, Pervis, why are we talking about McDonald's and Coke? What does this have to do with mindfulness? Well, what if I were to say to you that when people see you, they feel something, they think something, and you communicate something to them? I'm going to let that marinate. When people see you, they feel something, They think something and you communicate something. And that correlates with our tenets to be intentional, to be responsible, to be. Now, you might be asking yourself, why is that important? Well, how we show up in life determines our success or failure in all areas of our lives. If we desire to be successful, we must be cognizant and mindful of our relationships to others and the world around us. Here's something that's very, very powerful. We are our brand managers. We must be intentional about our brands. We must be intentional about how we show up in life. That is very, very important if you want to have a successful life. And I'm not talking just career, I'm talking life. We must understand that we are the nexus. And when you understand that you are responsible for your success and your happiness in life, you move to a place where life begins to happen from you. Begins to happen from you. Are there things in life that happen to us? Absolutely. But you grow to a place where you start to co-create the life that you want to have. And I'm a witness. Just a brief history about me. I am from Lancaster, Texas, which is a small town outside of Dallas, Texas, and I grew up with a father who was a great man, but he was addicted to heroin. And I grew up being severely bullied, and to the point where I was suicidal and I was depressed and had anxiety for a majority of my life. And my life began to change the moment I began to rebrand myself. The moment I began to take a hold of who I was and how I showed up in the world. And I wanted people to no longer pity me. I wanted people to embrace me, to understand that I'm powerful and that I'm amazing. And so it took work. But once I did that, life started to happen from me, where I became a little boy from Texas who was on the Today Show, where I became a little boy from Texas who graduated from TC, Teachers College, where I became a little boy from Texas where, as to now, I'm a highly sought after life coach. That's because how I showed up in life changed. And that led to success in all areas of my life. But I began to change how I made others feel, what they thought about me, and the language that I was communicating, and what I communicated brand messaging wise to others. And I'm hoping that you guys are understanding that. I'm not trying to be harsh. I'm just saying that we are responsible for our success and happiness in life. And speaking of brands, they're the four P's of branding: price, place, promotion, and product. And for this webinar, I want to focus on product. What are you offering to this life? What are you offering to the areas of your life? And I really want you to think about that. So for me, as a coach, I offer transformation. I offer tangibility. I offer honesty, kindness, and love, and nurturing. I'm very clear about what it is that I'm offering. And the reason why I think that is important is because if you want to live your best life, you have to offer something in exchange for it. You have to offer something in exchange for the life that you want. And so I want everyone who's listening to this call to really think about, what are you offering to this world? Because it's very, very vital, because that is the exchange. That is your bargaining power between the life that you want, what you have already right now. Okay? So I am giving you guys homework. It's not really homework. It's just something really for you to reflect on in your quiet time. I want you to think about, what do you want others to think and feel? What do you want to say to them? And I'm speaking non-verbally. What is it that you want to say to people? What do you want others to think and feel when they're around you? And think about this next question. Do you believe that your ideal brand matches up with who you are right now? If so, that's great. If not, what improvements need to be made? And then I want you to describe in detail what product you are offering in the various areas of your life. What are you offering to your relationships? What are you offering to your career? What are you offering to yourself? I want you to really think about that. And I also want you to think and remember this, that it's never too late to rebrand yourself. I gave you the example of my life story. It was never too late to rebrand yourself. And I've had clients who have come to me who are in their 50s and they've rebranded themselves and now they're living their most dynamic lives. So it's never too late to rebrand yourself. All right. So we're going to go into the next part of the webinar, which is one of my favorite parts because I think this is something that is so missing, especially with audacious people like the ones who are on this call. I'm positive that every one of you are audacious and probably achieve a lot of success in life. Here's a quote from me. And it says, don't pursue a successful career if it is at the expense of your mental, emotional, and spiritual health. Your first ministry is you. Jesus said, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world, yet lose his soul? Right? So this part, we're talking about soul care, self and soul care, which is very, very vital and necessary if you want to have a successful life. And I wrote here, I said, the purpose of self and soul care is to maintain sanity, right? Let's be real, maintain sanity, to prevent burnout, and to establish joy and fulfillment. You will not enjoy your career and relationships if you are not taking care of yourself. Case in point, I like to have case studies. I like to provide case studies of real situations and real examples. One of my clients is was a successful Hollywood actress at one point. At the height of her career, she was on 2 network TV shows simultaneously, which was never done at the time. So she was making millions of dollars hand over foot and had all these people in her life, all, just living that Hollywood lifestyle. But she never took the time to take care of herself. And you know what happened to her? She had a nervous and mental breakdown. Up until last year, she hadn't worked in over 15 years. It took her 15 years to recover from the breakdown that she had. And she now recognizes that she just did not take care of herself. She was taking care of everybody else but herself. And she was running on fumes. And so I don't want that to happen to you. I want you to be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. I want you to enjoy your life, but also to understand that you are your first priority. Everyone here, listen to me. You are your first priority. You're no good to anyone if you're no good to yourself. Okay? So, I believe one of the biggest deterrents to us, people who like to achieve and who strive for success in life, is that we have an inappropriate relationship with one word. And when I heard this statement from this particular individual, it totally revolutionized my life. And that statement is, no is a complete sentence. Right? And I was even talking to Sarah when we were going over this webinar, and she even said to me that she has an unhealthy relationship with the word no, because it's like you just keep going, and you just never say no. And I said to myself, why is it that we have such a negative relationship with the word no? For many of us, we have a negative relationship because so much shame and rejection and negativity has been attached to the word, right? And if you think about it, if you're honest with yourself, and I'm being honest, I'm going to be transparent to everybody. I want people to like me. I want to be liked. I want to be loved. I want to be accepted. And I realized that I've been a people pleaser for most of my life. And so no used to be very hard for me to say. And again, there's so much shame and rejection that's attached to the word. We think that no is not a loving or protective word. And really, when you think about it, for a moment. Think about those times in your life where you heard the word no and it was like the biggest blessing of your life. Today, I was thinking about this webinar and I was thinking about this section and I was thinking about the girl who turned me down for the prom. And I looked on Facebook and I saw her today and I was just like, man, thank you, God, that she told me no. you know, no, no is just as loving as the word yes is. And so I really want you to think about what it is that we're saying no to. Like I want to be clear. I want you to be very, very clear about what we're saying no to. We're saying no to putting ourselves last. We're saying no to running on fumes. We're saying no to overextending ourselves. We're saying no to fear. We're saying no to inequitable relationships. And we're saying no to putting our dreams on hold. In order for you to live a happy life, to have a successful career, hear me and hear me well. You must rebrand your relationship with the word no. And so I want to do an exercise and I want you to so I have exercise and homework. And so I want you to spend at least 1 to 2 minutes a day just saying the word no or different variations of it. So if you're uncomfortable saying no, you can say, "Oh, I actually have a scheduling conflict," or, "Oh, you know what? I'm not going to be able to make it. I apologize. Oh, I'm booked. I'm so sorry. I can't make it." So for the next 15 seconds, I'm actually going to put this on my phone. We're going to just say the word no. Just going to say the word no. And Sarah's going to say the word no too. We're all going to just say the word no or different variations of it, starting now. No. Oh, I'm sorry. I won't be able to. Yeah, I can't. Um, no. No, that's not my job. No, I won't. No, I wasn't hired to do that. No, I'm sorry. I apologize. No. 5 more seconds? No, I won't. No. No, I'm sorry. Yeah. All right. How did that feel for everyone? I can't hear you or see you, but I'm assuming that it felt good. But in all seriousness though, I really want people. I understand that you guys you're more than just your careers. Some of you are mothers, some of you are spouses, and you're in relationships, and you have a lot of responsibilities. But sometimes saying no to others is saying yes to you. And so I just want you to understand that it's important, and to not have fear attached to it. You're going to be okay if you say no. And it teaches others, it creates a boundary. I think, and I know this to be true with a lot of my clients, particularly my clients that are mothers. Boundaries always get crossed because no one respects them, because it's everything's yes, yes, yes. I'm gonna do for my kid. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. Or they're married. I'm gonna do this. I got to do this. And boundaries get crossed easily, and people start to not appreciate or value you when you're yes all the time. No creates a boundary and it creates respect. So I really want you to spend time thinking about that. Um, so I have some tips for self and soul care. One is create a quick one and a more intricate one. So, for example, quick ones are like prayer, breathing, running, exercise. Intricate ones that require planning are like vacations, staycations, retreats, or coaching programs, things like that. Um, when you are thinking of self and soul care, it should appeal to your whole being, meaning that it should make you feel, it should make your mind, body, and soul should feel aligned or good or in a good or taken care of. Um, And I think this is important too. Is like it really should leave you in a state of gratitude. We should bring you back to a place of where you feel like yourself again. Uh, you know what I mean, or at least get you into that mode of getting you back to the place where you should feel like yourself and feel good again. And here's something that I want you guys to really understand: this should be done daily. And as I said, unlike cars, the human soul requires daily maintenance. So this is something that you have to integrate into your life. It needs to be something that's done daily. And don't tell me you don't have enough time. Don't tell me you don't have enough time. You have 5 minutes. You have to be intentional. You have to be responsible, and you have to be. Those are the tenets. You have to be intentional about taking care of you. You have to be responsible for taking care of you. And you just have to be the best you to take care of you. Um, so I want you to really, tomorrow, I want you to say, I'm going to dedicate 5 to 10 minutes for me, regardless of what that looks like, no judgment. But I want you to really spend time to think about you and to do something that takes care of you and your well-being. And lastly, this is very, very important too. Um, I my clients, I tell them this all the time. I said, your soul care should not feel like a task. It should not feel like a chore. You should you should feel better. You should feel excited to do it. You should feel very, very good about doing it. And the moment that it feels like a chore, the moment it feels like um, a task, you need to switch it up, or you need to switch it up. Okay. Um, I have here some self soul care examples um, that I think are great, and that I actually tell my executives that I have them do. One of the ones that on here, that, there's a great list on here that I just compiled. One of the things one of the ones that stand out to me that I want to highlight is number one, video journaling. Video journaling is awesome, 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 awesome. And the reason why that is because it's just you and the camera. So there's no one who views it. It's just you. You have the opportunity to be free, to be who you want to be. You can say whatever you want to say it however you want to say it, and there's no one there, just you and the camera. And so many of us, we have phones with cameras on them, we have computers with cameras on them. It's just awesome. And you can just brain dump, you can process, you can cry, you can spit, you can do whatever you want to do on the video journal. And I have to tell you that it's been I have some of my clients do it, and it's been such a freeing experience for them, especially when we feel overwhelmed, that you can just kind of just you can just say words that that are sometimes inappropriate, or you can just even yell or scream, and there's nobody to view it but you. And what's great about them is that you can track your progress. You can track if you're progressing or if you're regressing. So it is a great way to view yourself in an objective way, because often we're subjective because we live our lives. So it's an opportunity to really see yourself outside of yourself and see what it is you're dealing with. And that also could provide a little bit of insight to your life as to where changes need to be made. So that's a really, really, really great one. I really implore you to experiment with that one. And also, when you're video journaling, you can check in from time to time. So I would recommend that you check in like maybe once every 2 weeks or once a month. Look at your videos. That's a great one. And another one on here that I really think is important is self celebrating. Too often we confuse self celebrating, we misconstrue it with being arrogant or conceited. And the truth is, life is extremely hard, and the fact that we're still here with our with our right mind and in a healthy, somewhat healthy space is something to be celebrated. And so I would say celebrate yourself often. Celebrate the small victories. Celebrate that you made it through this week. Celebrate um, that you invested in yourself. Celebrate that you went a whole week of taking care of yourself, that you did your soul care regimen. Celebrate yourself. I think it's very important. And I think we wait for people to celebrate us, but really it begins with ourselves. And Let's see, dancing. I do all of these, to be honest. Painting is great. I took a painting course here at TC, and it was the most rewarding, one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. And date night. If you're not in a relationship, you can still take yourself out on a date. You can go to dinner. You can go to movies. You can do a lot of things, but definitely these are some great examples, and there's so much more that you can do. But these are just some ideas that you can do in case you were wondering as to what you could do to take care of yourself. All right, so we're going to transition into this question, this statement, this quote: to be or not to be? That is the question. And that's the last tenet that we talk about. To be mindful is to be. And Dr. A.R. Bernard says, you don't have to pursue things that you can attract. I think the last tenet of mindfulness, being, is so powerful. I was recently at an event and I was interviewed, and the reporter asked me, they said, Pervis, what what would you say people should do for 2018? And I said, focus on being. And she said, why being? I said, being is so powerful. I said, I think that we look outward when we should be focusing on inward. And when we take care of inward, we can begin to attract the things that we want outward. And so to be is to be present and in full awareness of yourself and life. When we focus on being who we desire to be, we attract the things we desire to have. That is the truth. So, the client that I mentioned earlier, the actress, I told her, I said, Lisa, if you want to get back into Hollywood, if you want to have abundance again, you must become abundance. You must embody abundance. And she was like, what does that mean? I said, you have to live in a space where there are plenty of opportunities. You have to look at yourself as available, and that you're an endless source of creativity, that you're an endless source of acting and all those things. I said, you have to be the abundance. You have to be the opportunity, right? You have to embody that. And she started to become that. Like her language began to talk. She started to take care of herself. She started to aggressively become abundance. And do you know, she landed a part in a TV movie that was the highest rated show on television last year, because she began to embody, she began to be, and she attracted it. They came after her. She didn't even have to audition. They came after her. And so there is a law of sympathetic resonance, which basically the Pervis version, it's more technical than how I'm explaining it. But basically it's like what you vibrate, there's a vibration out there that's going to meet you. So if you have a low vibration, there's a low vibration waiting to meet you. If you have a high vibration, there's a high vibration waiting to meet you. Essentially, we attract what we are and where we are. What was true for Lisa in attracting that TV role and attracting that opportunity is possible for you and I. A lot of the major accomplishments I've had in my life, and even my clients, is because is because I became what I wanted to be. Another case study, a client of mine, Melanie, she came to me as an attorney, and she always wanted to have her own office, and for some reason she always was working at a desk or sharing a cubicle with someone, which is nothing wrong with that, but she aspired more for herself. She wanted to be, a partner. She wanted to have her own office, have her name on her desk. And when she came to me initially for that, I obviously knew that there was more to her life than just her career. And so we began to unpack her life. And she was really dealing with a lot of things that were creating a lot of blockage in her life. Namely, she was living with a mother who was a hoarder. And also, she was the mother in the relationship. And so she had to really unpack all those years of dysfunction, right? And it took us a while to get to that place of unpacking that, right? But also, with the dysfunction, she began to create a narrative within herself that she was unworthy. And so she kept saying to me, Purpose, I'm getting these job offers, and they're not worth my time. They're not. And I said, well, Melanie, you feel unworthy. I said, you in our sessions, you always talk about how you feel unworthy. And she said, you're right. I said, you're attracting what you are. I said, so we got to do this work of creating a new Melanie. If you want to be worthy, if you want to be a partner, if you want to have your own office with your name on the desk, you have to become that. And so what did Melanie do? She started to change her self-talk, her language. She began to confront the things in her life. She began to confront her mother. She began to change and create more boundaries with her mother. She began to take care of herself. She started to exercise. She developed a self-care routine. She started to journal. She started to do things to take care of herself. She began to have new friendships, new relationships, and she began to change the way she dressed. And just eventually, and it was a combination of many, many things. I'm speaking off the top of my head, but it was many things that she did. Finally, our last session, she says to me, Purvis, I was offered this job, but I know I'm worth more than that. And that to me was the successful moment, right? It's her saying that she knew she was worth more than that. Well, after that session, I would say 2 months later, I get a text message of just a picture. And it's an office. It's a big, beautiful office. And I see on the desk, it says Melanie Blank Esquire. She got the job that she wanted because she became who she wanted to be. And it wasn't about the job. I want to be clear. It was about her taking care of herself, which is the whole point of this webinar, is for you to understand that having a great career is awesome. But if you're not taking care of you, it will become a burden. So being what you want. If you want love, if you want love in relationships, you have to be love. If you want to have friends, you have to be friendly. Being is so powerful. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to be. I do this program with executives, and it's called CAPE, and I'm giving you guys like the very, very super duper condensed version. But basically, it's like unearthing the superhero within you, right? Superheroes, at least Batman and Superman, they have capes. So that was the premise for me doing this. But I want to go back before we get to being. People ask me, Purvis, how do I be? How do I become mindful? How do I begin? And the first step is acceptance, right? Acceptance doesn't mean condoning. It doesn't mean excusing. Just accepting where you are and acknowledging that you may not be where you want to be. So it all begins with acceptance, right? Acceptance leads to clarity. And clarity is important because clarity precedes a breakthrough. Clarity precedes a breakthrough. With Melanie, when we got Melanie to a place where she accepted where she was, then we could begin the real work. She got clarity when she started to deal with the things in her life, and she started to unclutter, move out of her mother's house, the hoarding space. She started to see her life in a way that she didn't see it before. And when she got clarity, she was able to articulate what it is that she wanted. She wanted more than just an office or a partnership at a law firm. She wanted a happy life. She wanted to have joy. She wanted to feel good about herself. And she was able to articulate that with boldness, right? And then she created her plan. She created her plan, which is what I described earlier. She began to confront those things in her life. She began to take care of herself. She began to change her resume. She began to she started using more colorful words in her in her resume, like she spoke higher of herself, and she showed up differently for interviews. Her posture changed. Like so many things in her plan took place, right? She executed and she got results. She executed her plan. She implemented her plan and she got the results that she wanted. And again, what is true for Melanie is true for you and I. Um, so I think I am finished. Yeah. So I'm ending with my final slide, which says, "There's a life waiting for you containing all you've hoped for. What are you willing to do to get it? And who are you willing to become to sustain it?" And it was a pleasure um, to share this webinar with you guys this evening. If you would like to stay in touch, here's my information. And I'm, again, thank you so much for spending a couple minutes of your time with me.
Thank you so much, Pervis. If there are any questions, you can write them down, and we'll try to. You can type them in, and we'll be able to share them. If not, then you can go and email Pervis at his information, which is up right now, principles@pervistaylor.com. Okay, so thank you again, Pervis. And we appreciate you taking the time to share your expertise with the TC community. A video of this presentation will be available on our website. So you can go to www.tc.edu/alumni/career webinars and see all the presentations we have, and this one as well. And please visit our website for more information about our monthly webinars. The next webinar will be on February 7th at noon Eastern Time with Lynn Berger, who will present how to overcome a career slump. Thank you again, Pervis, and thank you all for joining us, and hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Okay, bye.